You feel it, don't you? That splinter in your mind driving you mad. You walk into the grocery store, you look at the gas pump, you look at your rent, and you know something is fundamentally broken. But then you turn on the TV, and you see a man in a suit telling you everything is fine. They tell you the economy is strong. They tell you they have engineered a soft landing. Let me be perfectly clear. The soft landing is the greatest lie ever told in modern economic history. It is a fairy tale designed to keep you calm while they load you onto the cattle cars of financial servitude. The Federal Reserve is not your friend. They are not the guardians of the economy. They are the arsonists pretending to be the fire department. And right now, they are trapped in a burning building of their own making. Here is the reality that the mainstream media refuses to broadcast. The Federal Reserve has failed. They are currently staring down the barrel of a mathematical impossibility. They have two choices, and two choices only. Option A, they fight inflation, keep rates high, and trigger the greatest deflationary depression since the 1932. Option B, they pivot, they print, and they unleash hyperinflation that wipes out the middle class entirely. There is no middle ground. There is no soft landing. We are witnessing the end of a long-term debt cycle. The system is blinking red. You are the canary in the coal mine, and the oxygen is running out. Today, on day zero, we are going to dismantle the Fed's lies. We are going to look under the hood of the global financial engine to show you why it is seized up. We are going to expose why the system is rigged against you, and why the crash isn't just a possibility, it is a mathematical certainty. Welcome to the countdown. To understand why the collapse is inevitable, you have to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a central banker. You have to look at the plumbing of the financial system, and the pipes are clogged. Let's talk about the mechanism of your enslavement, the liquidity trap. For the last 15 years, the Federal Reserve addicted the market to cheap money, near zero interest rates, quantitative easing. They flooded the world with liquidity. Wall Street, corporations, and the government itself became junkies, dependent on free cash to survive. They gorged themselves on debt. But then, the bill came due. Inflation, the direct result of their reckless money printing, spiked. To fight it, the Fed had to hike interest rates at the fastest pace in history. Here is the mechanics of the failure, and this is the part most people miss. When interest rates go up, the value of existing debt goes down. This is basic bond math. If you hold a treasury bond paying 1% interest, and the Fed issues new bonds paying 5%, your old bond is worthless trash. No one wants it. Who holds these trash bonds? The entire banking system. Regional banks across America are sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars in unrealized losses. Their balance sheets are insolvent. They are zombie banks, walking dead, kept alive only by accounting tricks and emergency loan windows. We saw the cracks form with Silicon Valley Bank. We saw it with Signature. But do not be fooled, that was just the tremor before the earthquake. The Fed knows this. They know that if they keep rates high to fight inflation, they will blow up the banking sector. The commercial real estate market is already in freefall. Office buildings are empty. Loans are refinancing at double or triple the original rates. And the banks holding those loans are going to face a wall of defaults. This is a solvency crisis masquerading as a liquidity issue. But here is where the debt treadmill speeds up to a lethal pace. Look at the US government itself. The United States is over $35 trillion in debt. When interest rates rise, the cost to service that debt explodes. We are now spending more on interest payments than we do on our national defense. We are borrowing money just to pay the interest on the money we already borrowed. This is the definition of a Ponzi scheme. The Fed is currently engaging in quantitative tightening, pulling money out of the system. They are trying to drain the ocean with a thimble, while the government is pouring water in with a fire hose of fiscal spending. The Treasury is issuing trillions in T-bills to fund wars and deficits, flooding the market with supply. This creates a supply-demand imbalance that breaks the Treasury market. If there are too many bonds and not enough buyers, yields scream higher. When yields scream higher, the economy crashes. The housing market freezes because no one can afford a 7 or 8% mortgage. Small businesses die because they cannot access credit. The credit contraction begins and liquidity evaporates. They talk about a strong labor market. This is a lagging indicator. It is the last thing to break. By the time unemployment spikes, the recession is already 6 months old. They're driving the car by looking in the rearview mirror, and there is a cliff straight ahead. We are entering a period of fiscal dominance. This means the Federal Reserve has lost control. The government's deficit spending is the primary driver of inflation and economic activity. The Fed can hike rates to 10%, but if the government keeps handing out stimulus, funding wars, and forgiving loans, inflation will remain sticky. This brings us to the nightmare scenario, stagflation. Imagine an economy where growth stalls, unemployment rises, the housing market crashes, yet the cost of bread, milk, and energy continues to climb. That is where we are heading. The Fed's tools are useless against supply-side inflation and fiscal recklessness. They are trying to break the labor market to kill inflation. Think about that. Their actual stated policy is to make you lose your job so that prices come down. That is how rigged the system is. They need your pain to salvage their balance sheet. But they won't be able to hold the line. The moment something truly breaks, not just a regional bank, but a sovereign bond market or a major clearinghouse, the Fed will panic. They will pivot, they will cut rates, and they will turn the money printer back on. And that is when the real horror begins. Because when they pivot this time, inflation won't be at 2%, it will be at 4% or 5%. And that new liquidity will send it to double digits. They will sacrifice the currency to save the system. The system is failing. The math is undeniable. So, what do? Do you sit there and watch your purchasing power evaporate? Do you wait for the government to save you? If you do, you deserve the poverty that is coming. For the rest of you, it is time to execute the Day Zero plan. We need to shift from passive observation to active defense. We are positioning ourselves for the great wealth transfer. Wealth is never destroyed. It is merely transferred. In a crisis, it moves from the unprepared to the prepared, from the patient to the impatient, from the holder of paper promises to the holder of real assets. Here is your strategy to escape the blast zone. Step 1. Fire your banker. You must minimize your counterparty risk. If your money is sitting in a regional bank that is overexposed to commercial real estate, you are gambling with your life savings. You need to keep only operational cash in the banking system. The idea of cash is trash is true in the long run, but in the short term, liquidity is oxygen. However, do not confuse a bank deposit with ownership. A bank deposit is an unsecured loan you make to a bank. If they fail, you are a creditor. Diversify your jurisdictional risk if possible. Step 2. Exit the fiat matrix. The dollar is being debased. It is a melting ice cube. You need to own things that the Federal Reserve cannot print. We are talking about gold and silver. These are God's money. They are the only financial assets that are not someone else's liability. When the central banks pivot and flood the world with liquidity, gold is the insurance policy against currency collapse. It is the ultimate hedge against the stupidity of politicians. We are talking about Bitcoin. You don't have to like it, but you have to understand it. It is a decentralized liquidity network outside of the state's control. It is the only asset with a supply cap that is mathematically enforced, not politically promised. As the debt treadmill destroys the sovereign bond market, capital will flee to assets with no counterparty risk. Step 3. The hard asset thesis. Look at productive land. Look at commodities. Energy, food, water. These are the things that matter when the financialization of the economy unwinds. The paper economy, stocks, bonds, derivatives is a hallucination. The real economy is physical. During the 1,972nd stagflation, financial assets got crushed, but real assets soared. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Step 4. The debt jubilee strategy. If you have high-interest consumer debt, pay it off immediately. Variable rate debt is a death sentence in this environment. However, if you have fixed-rate, low-interest debt on a cash-flowing asset like a mortgage from 2021, do not pay it off early. Inflation is paying that debt for you. Let the devaluation of the currency erode the real value of that liability. Use the system's inflation against them. Step 5. Skill acquisition. The final asset is you. In a recession, the bloated middle management class gets wiped out. The email job economy is dying. You need to acquire skills that solve hard, tangible problems. Can you build? Can you repair? Can you sell? Can you grow food? The era of easy money is over. The era of competency is returning. The goal here is not just survival, it is asymmetry. We are betting on the inevitable failure of a corrupt system. When the Fed pivots, asset prices will reprice in devalued dollars. If you are holding cash, you lose. If you are holding real assets, you ride the wave of the great wealth transfer. Let's bring this back to reality. The Federal Reserve is composed of unelected bureaucrats playing God with your livelihood. They believe they can manage a complex, chaotic global economy by adjusting the price of money. It is hubris of the highest order. They want you to believe that the inflation is transitory. They want you to believe the banking system is sound. They want you to believe that they can raise rates, strangle the economy, and yet somehow everyone keeps their job and their house. They are lying. The system is rigged to protect the asset holders at the expense of the wage earners. They will protect the bond market. They will protect the banks. They will protect the government. They will not protect you. The warning lights are flashing. The yield curve is inverted. The gold price is sniffing out the coming devaluation. The insiders are selling their stocks. You have a choice today. You can stay in the matrix, believing the comfortable lies of the 6 o'clock news, or you can wake up, you can prepare, you can take control of your financial sovereignty. Do not listen to what they say. Watch what they do, and what they are doing is driving the economy off a cliff. Prepare for the pivot. Prepare for the inflation. Prepare for day zero. If you want to survive the coming storm, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. We are the resistance against the narrative. We are the voice they don't want you to hear. This is day zero. The countdown has finished. The impact is imminent. I'll see you in the trenches.